Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We're back to another all-time classic track. Gotta love Laguna Seca every time it shows up in any schedule. And these cars are particularly infamously good at running around it. I don't think any rookie has had any week in their iRacing career where they haven't had some memories of this track, good or bad. Super tight and technical with crazy elevation change, and of course, infinite corkscrew, infamous corkscrew, which iRacing refers to more as a ski slope than a racing corner. Can't wait to see how wide this field is going to throw these cars down here. You can go 2, you can go 3, someone can even try 4 once in my life. With an over 5.9k SOF, it is a strong lobby, but there are some newbies here that have not jumped into the top of the schedule yet. And we do have championship standings nowadays. Finally be able to get these up thanks to Ian Watts. I hope this is correct. Oh, I'll get it up. Tim Hendrickson leads the road by a great margin with 3 wins and only 1 failure to convert at Watkins Glen. Neil Gardner and Ryan Chenoweth are very, very close behind, but with Tim not in this race, they'll be able to make up grounds. Tim says he may be missing some future rounds of this series, so this battle between the 2 and the 3 could rage on, but with the 3 and the 6 car this time, Neil and Ryan, they've been heavily split. As ever, I'm Howie Burroughs, bringing you on a lovely Sunday morning, and I gotta say, this has been utterly one of the worst weeks of my racing life, you know? Like, the Daytona 24 treated me like garbage. It was a very bad experience. I feel even worse for some of the teammates, and I won't elaborate on that as drivers go around on their qualifying. Really, I'm expecting some of the good racing we see here today to save my iRacing week for me a little bit, and it's Laguna Seca, so, you know, that's pretty easy to get right. Sam Devontier is our highest I-rated driver today. Good old Scuderia Dunkersaw car running with 9.2k I rating. And let's get on the onboard and just show you a couple laps around here as drivers are going to now start getting their laps through. Some might get in before here, but I thought I'd show from the absolute best. This track deep in California is horrifying, could be one way to put it. You run all the way up this hill. Probably the scariest corner on the track that isn't the corkscrew is right here. I don't know if there's any that have corners other than an Andretti hairpin and the corkscrew. But that turtle on the left-hand side of the track will send your car into the shadow realm. I was the victim of that. As a young iRacing child, that's where it sent me. Sam now warming up the tyres to get down the corkscrew. The home of many an outrageous send, I wouldn't dare. These drivers are significantly braver than me, I think, in race conditions. And then they fly down the last couple corners of the circuit. Sam's still warming up the tyres on the warm-up lap. There aren't that many restrictions on qualifying the Skip Barber Series being a D Series, so you really can spend the time cooking up those tyres, and we'll be able to take a little peek at what a nice TV lap really looks like around here. Kind of missed out the Andretti hairpin as he left the pits, but this is often the spot of many drama for a new iRacing driver, let alone an experienced one. It was an old layout of this circuit that didn't take the hairpin and in fact cut that entire lake you see to the right-hand side. That layout faithfully recreated in what else but Forza Motorsport. I tell you what, for all that game's failings, that is a very fun track layout. Drivers are getting their lap times on the road. We're just going to hop on board still with Sam Devontier as we get to see our fastest driver run through, but Adam Miles still has yet to set his time as well. As he approaches up to the corkscrew. Jenny Breska currently a faster of 36.5, but we were wondering this week in the Skip Barber community whether somebody would take it down to 35. And it did happen. Track conditions were right. You can't reliably get a 35 on this track. It depends on the weather on the circuit and how cool it is. I don't have a frame of reference for just exactly whether this is hot or cold for the week, but it is California. So 29 Celsius track surface means, is that a 29? It's a 29 Celsius in the air. That seems pretty cool for hot California, to be honest. This should be Adam Miles finishing his qualifying lap, or his first one at the very least. It's a 36.2. That's fastest on the road. Sam Devontier also completing his fastest driver of the pack. I don't see one that's come through. Now it has. It's P5. Not good enough. Dennis Johansson in the 4 car now is next to sort of show his way around the track. Race driver 77 as he runs up on the car. That must be the Twitch channel. Feel free to watch the drive perspectives after the race, okay? You've got the best view in the house on this channel, let me tell you that. That is throwing the car nearly off the track up the hill. I'm going to be surprised if he even makes it. No, that lap has been abandoned. Dennis Johnson's going to have to wait again. Other drivers trying to jockey in now. Adam Miles, fastest so far, our schedule organizer. And I've got to say, it's just been such a joy how varied the schedule has been. And it's been a fantastic success. I've been able to pull out some of the... I'm not going to... He's pulled out some of the data, and I've just stolen it from him. With 75 new drivers in this car this week, it almost pretty much doubles good numbers from last season's. 461 drivers raced this car for the first time ever this season so far. So this series, I remember when it was the top of iRacing. I remember when it was down in the dump. It is very much on the up and up, and people are getting very used to this car all over again. Just raise the tyre pressures, set lower your fuel, and you've got your baseline setup going. Adam Miles, will he hit the 35s on this run across the line? He pretty much has pole locked down. It's an improvement. It's a 36.1. That should lock in an easy pole. Sam Devontier, last car on the road. Looks like he's not going to finish that. Quick qualifying, see if I can get the results up in time. Sometimes this fancy new overlay breaks things. Moves fast and breaks things indeed. Adam Miles takes P1 on the road with Dario Frattini behind him. We haven't seen for a short while up at the front of the road. Neil Gardner in 3 was Paul Smithhurst in 4th. Johnny Bresca in 5th with Tero Hitanen in 6th. Sam Devontier doesn't make his way up the road. He's only going to be starting 7th with Alexander Wesley Hazelworth in 8th. Behind Ryan Chenoweth and Zhene Zorek take up 9th and 10th. And there's Chris Wayne and Yannick Marrell on the 11th and 12th row. Still cast to go. Sees Peter Sapanki in 13th with Dennis Swanson also not getting a successful time on the board, and he'll be finishing starting near the back, along with Joachim Osbeck, who also wasn't able to get a clean lap done in time. Drivers are getting ready to grid right now. We have 15 laps of this track. It's going to be one of the longer weeks on the calendar, I think, because this track is quite a slow one for these drivers. And it's Adam Miles that's going to make us wait as long as humanly possible. We know it. Like he likes to do it his way. You got to do all the pre-race necessities, you know? Your toilet trip, your snack, your good meal. I think we're getting ready to grid, and if we're gridding about the P1 car, there he is. He's making us wait. Adam Miles is on the grid, and with that, we're ready to go green. Soon as Martin the Flagman's ready on the road. He's going to hold it for a while. And now it's green. Adam Miles off the row in P1, though. Substantial jumps, but I already see Neil Gardner going quite wide into the turn 1, trying to open it up. He's going to tuck himself back in line. It's going to be the best drafting spot on the track as they're 3 wide down behind. I see, looks like the other Dunkersaw car just about sneaking through. Adam Miles holds P1. Neil Gardner's always the one to try and jump out of line when he wants to try and make his place. But that 1, 2, and 3 looking very, very familiar. Paul Smithhurst leading at the road ahead of Johnny Bresca and Sam Devontier with Ryan Chenoweth in P7, looking to get some positions up the road. Quite a few drivers here looking to make up place. I don't get these two Conquistador cars too confused as we fly up the hill for the first time. Pretty much single file. How aggressive on a sense. It just seems to think we're going to go 3 to 4 wide. I think we've been too bruised from Watkins Glen. A track full of controversy and consternation. I think these drivers might be keeping it sensible for now. Keeping it sensible indeed for the start of the race. We'll see how that develops. Out for the rest. 15 to go. And the drivers are holding it single file the whole way down the pack. Neil Gardner dropping back a bit as Dario Frattini absolutely looks to try and make that place up. These cars are starting to look a little bit familiar out here every single week. Dennis Schwanson gets past Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. It's going to be one of the faster cars on the grid. He just didn't quite get qualifying to his satisfaction. Adam Miles crossed the line first. Set our first lap of the race. 14 to go. It's going to be a very, very quick run. No significant drama, though. I like to see the starts without much drama, but these cars haven't been doing much attacking on the lap one. I think these drivers are simply too high skill, simply too high in I rating to want to throw it away on the first turn. As I said, I'm so in the dumps right now that, quite frankly, I expect that one to be a bloodbath. I'm reminded what the real racing looks like. So this 1 and 2 have gotten away quite well, and Neil Gardner hasn't really stayed in range to attack, I've noticed. He seems to be falling back here to Paul Smithhurst in the 9 car. Sitting in that awkward middle ground in between the two. Dario Frattini's already looking a little bit impatient, almost nose to tail, as I think a few drivers have gone backwards far down the grid. We'll see how they make it through the corkscrew. They have made it, but Dennis Johansson and Journey Breska there have had a little bit of incident, and we can catch that. It's a meatball flag for both of them. A spicy meatball indeed. That's not terribly useful of an angle. Show me more. Show me more, my crystal ball. Here we're looking at Journey Breska. Oh, a small mistake. He's tagged by the 1 car up ahead, and that 4 car got horribly unlucky in that. We might be able to I just want to catch the on board there just to see just how bad, how brutal that was for him. A bit of a crunch. Probably no good way to react. He slipped himself. He's already gone on the gravel, so he's actually lost control under his own power. In that is horribly unlucky, and he's going to have a long recovery race after a start that didn't quite work out for him in the first place. Here's Adam Miles still leading the way. And I do see there Neil Gardner still just popping out of line. Constantly popping out of line on the road. Now he's going to look to the inside. If he can get a run, he'll definitely send this 2 wide down the corkscrew. Meanwhile, behind, Paul Smithhurst running with the pack. A lot of gravel kicked up in that corkscrew with the iRacing debris system there. That top 4 running together, and then further behind, Brian Chenoweth is leading his own pack down the road here. Significant gap between him, but he's leading quite a big train that could cause some significant battles down the road. Drivers definitely playing it conservatively. We just saw what happens when you send it a little bit too hard around here. A huge death indeed. Miles, Frattini, Gardner still running that top 3. Paul Smithhurst gets the fastest lap so far. It's a 36.5. Bit of a brake lock up there from Frattini as he tries to edge his way around and not run into the back of Adam. They're both going to get away with it, but Frattini's actually looking like the more impatient one of these drivers. Sam Devontier there, clawing his way up past Ernest Zorak. He wants his way up this field, but once he gets past Chenoweth, once he clears him, it's going to be a bit of a journey to make up more. Every lap you see these drivers get slightly less patient on each other. That's how these races often boil up and boil over in the quick sprint format around here. Probably only going to have about 20 minutes on the road, but you miss all the shots you don't take. Here's Frattini. He's alongside Adam Miles. He's going to clear Adam Miles, but Adam has the inside. How's the outbreak going to go? Frattini is going to take the lead for now. New race leader. Very good draft down the straight into the corkscrew. Chose not to leave him napping. Frattini had places to be, and now Neil Gardner's going to be looking in from behind, thinking, I can do more of the same. On the drivers behind. Wonder if Smith Purse is going to play patient or whether he is going to make a move eventually down the road. Plenty of time to find out. That's our new race leader. Dario Frattini. Is he going to get away with this in turn one, or is Adam Miles going to send it hard? I'd love to send the chopper replay, but I don't want him to lose that position. The moment I'm not looking, Adam Miles certainly isn't done. The move isn't quite aggressive enough, though. And he's going to get away with it. Meanwhile, Sam Devontier just behind, setting our session fastest lap. I told you we had places to be here past Ryan Chinoweth. And it's going to happen into the Andretti hairpin here. Very cleanly done move. On the corner exit, it's a slip from Chinoweth ahead. And that's all the space on the inside he's just been granted. All the space in the world. Back to live pictures on your screen. Dario Frattini still leading the way into the corkscrew for lap number 5. A couple off tracks noted for Devontier. On his way up, he's got a charge to make up now, and I'm curious to see quite how much he gains up. This is going to be the battle for P4, isn't it? The two drivers. Does that get the gap on the screen quite right? Yes, it does. Take a look at that as the race rumbles on to see whether he quite makes up that gap. Frattini's fast. Frattini is fast, and you can see that gap on Adam Miles just visually expand since the last time we saw him. Still no big sense, and actually Miles has a bit of a lock-up on the brakes. As Yannick Marrell has our next fastest lap. We're in the 35s now with Yannick Marrell. He hasn't been seen doing much battling and chasing on the road today, but he is at the back of a big train led by Sam Devontier. He's at the very back of it. Should be able to catch the onboard over here. Here's Yannick Marrell, who did set our fastest lap of the race. Now struggling with the slip angle of this car. It's a hot track on a hot day. These conditions, I think these times are going to start flying down. Here's Adam Miles behind Dario Frattini. I hate that turtle shell. I hate that turtle shell. I look at that thing on the inside and I think, like, man, you're almost as bad as Nelson Corner, okay? You're not as bad as Nelson Corner. I don't hate you. I did 3 hours of endurance here once, so I know what it's like to not hit that. You can see all the gravel just kicked up onto the track. Hopefully this works. Probably should. Tim Hendrickson not showing up today could give Neil Gardner a championship lead, even from this P3 position. It's 50 for the P1. Quite significant gaps to the position behind. These are unofficial standings, by the way. I have to pull my best from the data that is available. So you should refer to the championship standing links. They are in the Skip Barber community Discord, which I really should start linking. As Adam Miles tries his outside stem, but the inside's been very nicely cleared off there by Frattini. And that almost gives Gardner the chance to make his move. Gardner likes to wait. Gardner is a very, very wait-for-it driver. Gap really hasn't shrunk very much, though. Devontier hasn't been able to join this train yet. Keep an eye on whether he can make it up, but he has not made significant inroads into this top 4 battle. And what a top 4 battle it's been. One of very much patience around this track, but that's sometimes how the best races evolve. A lot of patience over a lot of time. It's like a pressure cooker. It just waits to boil over. It's like any good stock car race. Still the 1, 2, 3, 4. Neil, I see there. Gardner tries to get out of line. I don't think the draft's there, though, for him to successfully clear this. I'm kind of dreading a mistake. We see offline there going into the corkscrew. A lot of gravel right offline. I think if you go off that, you're going to be sent backwards. I've dealt with some nasty gravel in my time this week. Sometimes you can just kick up a whole sea of it. 5, 2, 3, 9 combo remains as we get over halfway through this race now. We're going to be approaching lap 8. That will make it 7 to go. And it looks like now drivers are willing to send it a little bit wide. Adam Miles taking a very, very wide line. Trying to clear up with the momentum. He's just about alongside, but that inside line is so strong around this track. So strong. And I almost thought Neil would make his move there. He will do it. He has no pushover, and he will do it when he needs to. Still no inroads made by Sam Devontier. He leads his pack, but that's about the limit of his leading today. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, that name isn't even hard. Got our last fastest lap as well. They're coming down even faster. That was a 35.6. See if we get that chopper cam going up the hill. Gardner always trying to take alternate lines on people. It will get you out of the ever-powerful slipstream, but I'm, for one, glad that this isn't just strictly a drafting spectacular. See that giant clump of gravel there on the inside. That's way bigger than even I anticipated. Not significant moves. Here we're looking at Chris Wayne here in the 13-old Gitz car. Behind Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, who has had some impressive performances very recently on the track. Hasn't been able to punch his way up now. This has become a little bit of a train. A little bit of a patience train. Drivers are absolutely biding their time. Down into turn 1. Adam Miles looked like he was going to make it happen again. We still hold form. Really, the only accident today has been that of a true accident. Neil's the one that keeps looking to try and sneak out and say, I will get you if you let me. He's going to take that chance in the rapidly diminishing time. Our laps, much like our time on Earth, are finite, and your laps on Laguna Seca are perhaps the most finite of them all. There's Adam Miles. Oh, people are ducking out more and more and more. It's like looking at fish in the pond. They're getting more and more antsy every time. This is how these races have been evolving all season. Initially I was surprised, now I just know it's a part of the story around here. And speaking to the variety of tracks Adam Miles puts on the calendar, next week we're at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. God, I cannot drive that track. But that's not to say it isn't just an absolute miracle. A miracle that it happens. It's super fast, it's super furious. About scarier downhill than this, but there's going to be a lot of draft down that back straight. It has a little bit of everything, and it's on this channel the same time next week. Alongside our FF1600 series as well, which we're at Thruxton. Going to be an absolute thrill. I'm so excited for Thruxton. So excited for Thruxton, but I'll talk more about that when we get there tomorrow evening UK time on this channel. Still, the 1, 2, 3, 4 holds as it is, but the impatience grows on these drivers. Ryan Chinaweth hasn't really made much for Sam Devontier either. Sam has made up small inroads on this top 4, not quite enough, I'd say, to really be in with a chance of the battle. Zene Zorek, though, behind the 6 of Ryan Chinaweth. Drivers very much holding their place right now. Is Hazelworth looking to try and get that draft done? Up the hill. We've seen our main overtake here happen for a draft up the hill. Don't quite think the window is totally open for him. No one quite risking that gravel line on the outside. Maybe that gravel itself has dissuaded the drivers from really making bold and aggressive moves down the inside. Because if you're offline there at all, this car is already quite loose. I barely drive motorsport in anything. I can't drive motorsport in a GTP cranked full of downforce and with a broken tyre model. So yes, the Skippy is going to be possibly the scariest thing ever made. Can't drive Fruxton or anything either, side by side. Adam Miles. I feel like this might be the one time he wants to get it done now. Runs him incredibly close there into the 5. It's still not enough. This turn 1 is absolutely tricking people. Adam Miles, though, he could have momentum now into this next turn. He has the inside. If he has the pace, he'll make this one stick. They're wheel banging behind. Neil Gardner's getting impatient. He's probably enjoying what he's seeing, hoping they take each other for a ride. Adam Miles has a tiny bit more momentum, but now the outside as we run up the hill. This is the battle truly evolving as it stands. Dario gets away with it. Adam certainly has pace in that car. He certainly has pace in that car. They're going to be trading back and forth the whole way around. Neil Gardner, I've never seen more impatience in Neil Gardner's body language, okay? You can tell when a car is just sick of what they're seeing right now, wants to take advantage, wants to cause controversy in the mess. All 4 make it through the corkscrew. It's great defensive driving by Dario. Just an immense amount of pressure was put under there by Adam Miles. I've never quite seen anyone run so close in these cars and put so much faith in the other car. Very, very aggressive from Adam. It's almost like a bullying contest, but sometimes good bullying on the track works. B4 to go when the line is next crossed. Time runs up on these drivers very quick, and that's what's going to cause them to make these moves more and more and more. And I said that Sam Devontier had no chance of really catching the field. Well, now he's within 1.8 seconds. He has well and truly taken advantage of this battle over the last few laps, and now he is within range. Between the 9 here and the 1, let me try and get that comparison up, and we can take a look just at how that gap whittles down over the course of the race. Because that, if Sam Devontier sneaks into this top 4, it's the coup of the century. Although being our highest I-rated driver here, he totally wants a bite of that apple. Some of these moves are dummies and fake outs from each other. I'd love to know how many of these moves are just there to scare and how many of them are actually legitimate attempts at making this chase happen. That's a serious dive. That's a serious move. He is going to be forced to the outside. He's going to cut over that gravel, though, to try and make it up Adam Miles. Still Dario holding off. This is a defensive masterclass in putting your car in the right place and just about telling Adam, oh, no, you don't. How much of this is Neil going to take before he strikes? He moves out of line right behind there. Paul Smithhurst tries the exact same thing at the exact same time. Both thinking the same thing. Neither quite making their inroads. 3, 2, go. Don't have like a dramatic sponsor to reveal for the 3 to go. We're not presented by any bank of any description. Chris Wayne setting our new assist. And Adam, now the patience is over. He is making these moves every time he gets a chance. If you're not first here, you are last. And there's no such thing as second, third, or fourth. Don't you speak to me about that one, Father. Sam Devontier creeping in, but I'd say I'm going to look away from that timer, and it's going to be 1 second. But right now, it's not quite it. Adam Miles now really alongside, really trying to muscle his way through. Frattini just trying to force him around and off the track. There are all sorts of incidents behind. We'll take a look at those in a second. Right now, this battle is too good to miss. It's absolutely side by side. Neil looking to try and make the most of this. He needs to pick his lane. He almost sends it free. If there was a gap for him, he would have sent that free in a heartbeat. Still wheel banging. Still wheel banging. Dario's just pushing Adam off the road. He's washed wide. In comes Neil. Neil has pace and momentum. He's just about held off, and that's Sam Devontier. Here he comes. He has completely joined this train alongside Ryan Chenoweth. The rest have all been left behind. I will catch that incident before the end of the race, but for now, this is an absolute chase for the ages. This has picked up so quick. 2 to go. And now the aggressive 3-4 wide sends down the corkscrew that have been predicted might indeed just kick off. 2 Dunkersaw cars up in this top. We don't quite track the teams, but we can definitely see them from a million miles away. Ryan's been playing at that game so well. Adam Miles, is it impatience, or is it just good driving? Or is it just scaring and spooking? I don't know, but he's kept on the rear of Dario, and he's going to keep trying this over and over again. We're going to go back in the chopper. That's the only way we're going to catch these sort of moves. The car's slipping out wide. This really is a battle for this 1 and 2, and if there's a mistake, it's all Neil's behind. Here's Sam Devontier. He's up into P4. Side by side down the corkscrew up ahead. This is absolutely electric. Up on the inside is Dario Frattini. Adam's still wheel banging. Neil's looking for a way in. It's not going to be given up. Adam could just take the lead, but I'm not going to confirm it again until this final corner. They're still perfectly side by side. The one car's going to jump into P3. Anything could happen on the white flag here. That's Sam Devontier on the left-hand side. He's fought his way up. We're almost 3 wide. They're wheel banging again. Dario Frattini pushing Miles wide, and that could open it up for his teammate. I think there will be tears. I think there will be an explosion. This has been absolutely fantastic. Defensive driving from Dario has been right on the edge of aggressive. Any one of this 6 could now claim this win. Adam not quite clearing. I think we could be in from the coup of the century from Sam Devontier here. He failed to set a good qualifying lap. He sat back for a long time, and then he found pace where he needed to. How many wide into the chicane here? Only 2, both drivers getting away with it. That's Adam Miles and Frattini. Go look at them up ahead here. This will be a drag race to the line, but Adam is slightly falling. I thought he was falling back. This hasn't been Neil Gardner's day at all. It's been Sam's. Our final corner. What a send from Chenoweth there. That's going to push Smithhurst wide. Frattini's going to lead the pack. Sam Devontier's going to try the drag race, and he's going to claim the P2. Could it be the P1? It is. I don't think so. Oh, no, it isn't. It's by 3 thousandths of a second. It's Dario's win. 3 thousandths. I'm walking up everyone in the vicinity with that, but it was worth it. I cannot believe what I just saw. Is Adam Miles is on board for that finale chase. I couldn't work out where the finish line was. I cannot believe he would come up from nowhere to even think about stealing this race. Sam is behind by the line. What a drag race. I'm in shock. I need a minute. Let's use this minute to review what happened on lap 13. I promise to come back to this. Here's Journey Zorek on Alexander Wesley Hazelworth and Chris Wayne. This is a nice break from the pace, I think. Although I don't think everyone's going to be terribly happy with what we see here. On board with Journey. I set the margin quite high. time, because I always seem to miss it when it happens. This is probably just a mistake. That cascades into a wreck. He's sliding. Alexander Hazelworth, no choice but to catch him in the middle. Oh, it's carnage behind. But I don't think that's the most exciting thing that happened on the track today by any means. It all goes down to this chase at the very front, and we have our final results. You're going to be amazed at the gaps you just see at the end. Dario Frattini takes the win over Sam Devontier, who was so close, within that close of claiming the win. And Adam Miles pushed out at P2 at the last second. Neil Gardner behind with Paul Smithhurst, Ryan Chenoweth, Tero Hietanen, Yannick Amarel, Jene Zorek, and Joachim Osbeck, riding up to P10. Behind him, Peter Sopanki, Dennis Johansson, Jenny Bresco, Chris Wayne, and Alexander Wesley Hazelworth finishing the road. Unofficial championship standings, always believe in the official sources, but this could keep Tim Hendrickson in P1 of this championship as it stands. He says he might not make many more weeks. I think I'm not getting confused, but I think... Am I getting him confused? I'm going to double check this for a second. Somebody... It could have been the guy from the FF as well, instead, which could just be that he's missed this 1 week. No, it isn't him. It's in the FF series that he's missing them in the future weeks. Well, he didn't make this week, but he still holds on to that P1. Neil Gardner finishes P2, and Ryan Chenoweth, always in the right place at the right time, striking in with a nice P3 on the road. No drop weeks on this season, though, so really it's about showing up as much as you can to claim as many points as possible. This is what I wake up to every week, and you know what? It really did save my iRacing week. It's been a really bad Daytona week, but I'm not here to tell you my life story. I needed a good pick-me-up and some reminding that the racing here can be brilliant, and that was better than I could have ever anticipated. I've been Howie Burroughs, and I have to thank you for tuning in all the way up to that race finish. We'll be back next week at Canadian Tire, and we'll be back tomorrow with FF1600 at Thruxton. Plenty more to see, so stay subscribed